All right, Kalimera. Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm sorry, unfortunately, I don't speak Greek, so I will do my presentation in English, but please feel free if you want to ask questions through this amazing system that we've just seen, input them in Greek, and I will make sure to get it translated by my colleagues. So I'm Ben Vanopbroeke. I'm working with Nielsen, and I'm looking specifically after something called sales effectiveness planning solution. It's basically a set of solutions that inject advanced analytics in broader business processes. When I've been invited to come and speak here in this conference about such a wide topic as data analytics, I thought a lot about what could be very relevant. And eventually, I've funneled down my thought into a demonstration on how data analytics are currently impacting a broader business process, a very well-known and very famous business process called category management. Category management, just as a quick reminder for those who doesn't know, it's a joint process between a supplier and a retailer trying to achieve the growth of a category, not a brand, but well a category, by maximizing shopper satisfaction. Shopper is the key. This is not a new process. This is an evolving process, but this is a process that is highly being impacted by data analytics. So the question when we do category management is, why are we specifically focusing on shopper? Because we hear a lot about shopper, consumer, customers, clients. When we do category management, we focus mainly on shopper. Shopper because shopper is an answer to two challenges that are shared by both retailer and supplier. When we look at the retail environment, nowadays we have more and more competitors. Geographically, we get saturation. We cannot just as easily as in the past expand our activities by just growing the number of stores. We need to start looking into in-store efficiency. We need to try to make the supply meet the demand as much as possible. From the manufacturer's standpoint, the challenge will be also slightly different. We are not speaking about the market saturation there. We are speaking here about what I'm calling mine saturation. Manufacturers will not only be working nowadays on being considered, they need also to maximize their conversion rate. And this is slightly different. And conversion is something that happens in the point of sales, meaning where the shopper are. So shopper is a common challenge for both retailer and manufacturer. So the category management process, which tries to maximize the shopper satisfaction in order to achieve the growth, is one of the most famous and successful business transformation process that has been applied to the retail environment. It's the first structured way to collaborate, exchanging data, exchanging information between suppliers and retailer in order to maximize the chance to make some return on investment. And this is a well-famous 8-step process. It's formally known as we start by defining the category, we assign a role to the category, we make an assessment on the category, how is it performing, how has it been performing, store level, category level, brand level, shopper level, establishing scorecards, building strategies, deciding actually what we want to achieve, generate traffic, profit, cash, tough protection, then, only then, jumping to the tactics, the famous 4Ps, product placement, pricings, and promotion, eventually implementing, reviewing, and we start again. So as I said earlier, this process is not something new. This process has been created in 1919 in the US during the recession. It has been first applied to Walmart, then it has slightly been rolled out in Europe, Asia, even Africa, Middle East, to a smaller extent. It's still in its infancy there. And up to now, it has been slightly adapted, but it remained on the core 8-step. So we are, so far, still applying a process that has been designed in 1919's. 1919's shopper and 2017 shopper. Are they the same? Are we speaking about the same environment? No. You have here a 1919 Porsche 911. You have here a 2017 Porsche 911. So the same way the shopper environment has evolved, process needed to evolve. When we try to target a shopper, when we try to maximize our efficiency, when we try to maximize performance of a category, we are not speaking to the same person. And we don't have the same means to target that person. Nowadays, everyone has in his pocket these little things. That little things has as much computer power that the best computer had in 1990s. Means we are able nowadays to compute much more complex system and a bunch of data to extract many more information. Shopper, same as he has this, an internet, is an educated shopper. He has access to a lot of information. He can compare. Many more channels have been now open to the shopper as well. He can go online, check the price while being in the store. We have more competition. So shopper is not as easy to be biased towards a certain product as it used to be. So what happened is that last year, the group that kind of created the category management process, the Category Management Association, has released a new version of their CatMan process called CatMan 2.0. And CatMan 2.0 is not totally wiping out what used to be done in the past, right? We take the best of what has been done, we keep it. They've had a couple of steps, let's say, like a business joint process planning. But what they have done as a transformation is kind of formalizing what kind of data analytics can be injected at each of the 8 steps of the process to not only look into what used to be working when we were doing CatMan 1.0 with the methodology that was applied. We knew everything about what happened in the past. It means that when we were initiating tactics in the store, it was a response to something that happened in the past. The new ways of doing things is now, thanks to analytics, to try to understand what will happen. Thanks to modeling, we will be able to forecast behavior, forecast reaction, whether a product is there on the shelf or not, forecast shopper reaction if we are changing the location of a category within the store. So we are trying now to complete the assessment, not only looking in the past, but well, starting to understand what will be the consequences of our action. I wanted to tell you how we were looking at these advanced analytics in Nielsen, because analytics are not an end. Analytics is a support function, right? Analytics are inputs that are helping us to achieve our goal. Our goal, ultimately, in FMCG, it's maximize our volume, maximize, protect our margins, right? So analytics, whenever we are looking at them, we should not be looking at just analytics for the sake of doing analytics. And we can do analytics with very small things if we keep 2 parameters in mind. Accuracy. Accuracy of your analytics, that's the key. If you take decisions based on wrong models, wrong information, you will, at the best, remain flat. Worst case scenario, you will really damage your category, your store performance. And accuracy, it's a combination of the right data and the right methodology. So whenever we do analytics, we need always to ask ourselves the question, based on what kind of data and with what methodology. I wanted to take a very, very simple example on how analytics, advanced analytics, has transformed nowadays the way that we are looking at an assortment in store. So an assortment is a combination of products that will be placed on the shelf, trying to maximize the answers that we are providing to the shopper demand, right? Historically, and most of the case still now, when we are looking to an assortment, we will be looking at the set of SKUs, their rate of sales, or sometimes, a combination of different parameters. The base will be always the rate of sales. We are looking at the bottom 20 to 30% as potential candidate to be delisted. Then we are looking at the market's availabilities, the best performer in the market, and we will be considering them as candidate to be listed. This is the historical way of doing things, but modeling has slightly changed the thing. So when again we are looking into accuracy, and when we are looking at methodology and data, when we look at the assortment now, we will be asking ourselves the question, are we measuring incrementality? And in terms of data, what kind of granularity do we have access to? And how solid is our data when we deep dive into the granularity of the data set? Methodology, the pace that is used right now, the trick that we use is called incrementality. The concept of incrementality is quite easy to understand if you compare it to a football team. I'm not a huge football fan, but imagine you have a team. You consider that the goal when you play football is to win the match, and to win the game you need to score more than the opponent. So let's just have 11 people that can score very well. You take 11 Ronaldos, you put them in the field, and you say, come on, let's go, we win. Problem is that in reality, that's not working. You don't have a gatekeeper, you don't have defense, and most probably the 11 Ronaldo will compete between each other. So basically, that kind of team would be always been beaten by any regular, strong, well-balanced team. So what we are trying to do now is not to understand what are our best performers individually, but, well, how each players interact with each other. When you apply this to FMCG, you have two scenarios. Imagine all you have is that kind of information. You have a list of SKU available in the market and the rate of sales. If you look at that, and if I'm telling you you can only pick two of them, the usual traditional way of doing things will say, okay, Benjamin, let's take item A and item B. Both together will generate 190 euro. The thing is that when you look at the incrementality, you will be able to realize that actually item A and item B are cannibalizing each other, and that the incremental sales that will be added to the category is actually much less than if you were combining item A and item C. So the combination of the two best players will not always give you the best performing category. This incrementality analysis is only being possible to be measured thanks to advanced analytics. Incrementality is something that we run on disaggregated store-level sales data model to understand the incremental impact by adding or removing products from an assortment. That wasn't possible 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. And 5 years ago, when we started to do that, we were applying such model on a certain set of data. So now I've mentioned the methodology. Let's look into the data. If you have this model, and you apply it to the initial data that we were having access to. Panel data, loyalty data, baskets data, aggregated data, because sometimes we didn't have access to a different kind of data. The problem is that you can, at any point, challenge the compliance of these things. If the panel has not been built in the right way, if it's not representative of your customers, you may miss something important, and therefore you will take decision on something that may not be really strong. Therefore, when we try now to run that kind of model, we will be looking always at running it on ePOS data. ePOS data, factual transactional data, will remove compliance issue. It will always be backed up, whatever level of data we are considering. So every week, every store, disaggregated store-level data, that's more than 50 million data points that can actually feed your model to ensure that your incrementality is the right one. And if you combine the right methodology, that is this incrementality measurement, based on the right set of the data, results are here. This is one case study that has been run last year, and it has been run in the Middle East as a test. We've applied this methodology on a pet food category. After testing for 26 weeks on certain test stores, you know, the usual test stores, control stores, and total banner, we have had an average of 11.6% growth, while we were looking at the banner at 7.8% growth. It's not bad. It's not that fantastic. It's still good. But what is really important is that when we run the model was predicting us 10.4% growth. So the difference between the prediction and the reality was less than 1%, actually. Strong model, accurate model, taking into account the right data and the right methodology, can actually be a real business driver when well applied. And that's one example. It's an example for assortment. But when we look at analytics, everyday analytics, that's how we call it internally, you have so many different sets of models. Models, it's like a new gold mines. We can run models thanks to a new computer power, thanks to the massive amount of data that we have. We can run models in every single part of our business. We will be looking at category decision tree, shopper decision tree, assortment incrementality, price and promo, self and cross elasticity. How changing the price of one product will affect the sales of the other product, or within the same range, the same product. So these are amazing. Store clustering. How can we now take a shopper-centric clustering way to group store together? Distribution, concentration curve, innovation forecasting. We can, thanks to this model, more or less accurately predict what will be the success of a new launch on the market, new product launch. I'm creating a new product, how will it be performing? We are able to model this. But the thing is that, and that's what I wanted to share today, analytics are a support function for a broader business process. Nowadays, the challenge, and we all agree, it's not to collect data anymore. It's to know what to do with this data. And I really liked in the previous presentation, even if I don't understand Greek, but that was stated the same way that I'm stating it right now. We need to understand how to go from data to information, from information to insights, and from insight to action. Because if we do analytics, it's eventually to act. And that's what I wanted to share with you today.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Υπάρχουν ερωτήσεις από το κοινό. Μπορούμε να δούμε αν υπάρχουν στο conference. You have a question. Does this apply for online supermarkets? If yes, what changes are required to the method approach?
E-commerce advanced analytics and category management in e-commerce are one of my favorite topics. It's my personal goldmine, to be honest. We have so many more data. It's not just about looking what clients are clicking on, but how much time they spent between clicking on a product and deciding to buy. How much product have been put in a basket and then have been purchased or removed from the basket. We can trace so much more behavior. And these data sets are so solid that models can be actually quite strong in an e-commerce environment. So yes, these kinds of processes are definitely able to be applied in an e-commerce. And when we look at category management also is transposable to e-commerce. We just have different ways to look at things. Consider it this way. We are not dealing with shelves anymore, right? It's not about which product will be at the eye level or what will be the key driver into the category, what will be the signpost products. No, but we are speaking about what's going to be on the first page. How will you actually segment your research engine on the website? Is the way that you are structuring the category on the website reflecting the way that shopper shops? So there are so many things, and somehow it's a big chapter that will be released in the next publication of the Category Management Association, but yeah, it applies. So now in terms of transformation to the initial process, I can speak about that for 2 hours, and there are many more speakers that will come next to it. My take to you guys is that there is an excellent white paper published by the Category Management Association called CatMan 2.0. It's available online. Feel free. It's a very, very good and decent read, and it can help you a lot on different aspects of your daily business. I hope I've answered the question.
If there's not, υπάρχει άλλη ερώτηση? Χρησιμοποιούμε και τον παραδοσιακό τρόπο με το χέρι. Όχι. Thank you very much. There's no
Pleasure.
other question. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.